Frank Capra's Meet John Doe, 1941, with Gary Cooper and Barbara Stanwyck. Frank Capra, 1897 to 1991, was born in Italy but raised in Los Angeles. As a Caltech graduate, he taught math in the U.S. Navy. After World War I, unemployed, he eventually found work in silent films and transitioned into sound. By the 1930s, won 3 Academy Awards for Best Director. Among his notable films, It Happened One Night, 1934, Mr. Deeds Goes to Town, 1936, You Can't Take It With You, 1938, and Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, 1939. In 1941, he came up then his most controversial work, Meet John Doe. Meet John Doe is considered a classic film due to its social commentary, explores media manipulation, political demagoguery, and the power of grassroots movements. It shows how populism can be either positive or be hijacked by a ruthless demagogue. Released March 12, 1941, before the U.S. was still not at war, but Capra viewed the film as a direct response to the rise of fascism in America. Meet John Doe warned how mass media can be used to mislead and exploit the public. A newspaper columnist, to save her job, fabricates a story of a man down on his luck who wants to end his life by year's end, Christmas Eve. The story catches the nation's populace. She must then find a John Doe to fit the narrative. Along comes a hobo who goes along with the deception for money, but later undergoes a moral awakening. Capra wanted for the newspaper columnist role Anne Sheridan or Olivia de Havilland, but Capra could not get either due to dispute with Warner Brothers Studios. Instead, the role went to independent Barbara Stanwyck. Barbara Stanwyck, orphaned at age 4 and raised in foster homes, made her debut on stage in the Ziegfeld Chorus Line in 1923 at age 16. Within a few years, she was starring on Broadway plays. In 1929, she transitioned from the stage to films. She starred in Frank Capra's Lady of Leisure, 1930. Many other films followed. One director, Jacques Tourneur, said of her, "She only lives for 2 things, and both of them are work." Stanwyck was nominated for her role in Stella Dallas, 1937. For the John Doe role, Capra set his sights on Gary Cooper, whose film persona was the honest, unassuming everyday hero. Cooper had agreed to the part of John Doe without reading a script. He enjoyed working with Capra on Mr. Deeds Goes to Town, 1936. Besides, he always wanted to work with Barbara Stanwyck. Gary Cooper began his career as a film stunt writer, but soon landed acting parts as a Western hero in silent films. He became a movie star with his first sound picture playing the Virginian, A Farewell to Arms, and The Lives of a Bengal Lancer. Capra believed that an imperfect world can be redeemed and that individual actions matter. The film shows how common men rise into prominence with a simple message of neighborly kindness. More people join John Doe's Be a Better Neighbor grassroots movement. Wealthy D.B. Norton, Edward Arnold, enters, taking control of the newspaper and the John Doe sympathizers. He even has his own police force. D.B. Norton builds the John Doe Club into a national political party. The Colonel, John's cynical sidekick, played by Walter Brennan, warns John against becoming one of the helots, a person who sells their integrity for comfort. Note, after selling out to D.B. Norton and no longer dressed as a working girl. John Doe comes to his senses and refuses to go along with D.B. Norton's plan for a national political party. D.B. Norton uses his controlling newspapers to take John Doe down. Meet John Doe shows the common man as susceptible to manipulation and propaganda. When D.B. Norton exposes John Doe as a fake, the crowd immediately turns on John, shouting "imposter" and revealing their volatility. The original ending of the film has John Doe on Christmas Eve jump off from the top of City Hall. Frank Capra changed the ending of Meet John Doe due to negative reactions from test audiences to have a beloved actor like Gary Cooper commit suicide. Instead, the ending used a voice of the people, a la Greek chorus, and a small group convinces John not to jump. This was really contrived since the group included D.B. Norton and his rich oligarchs. John, pushed to suicidal despair, ultimately saved by the John Doe followers. "Follow us, Mr. Doe." The film ends saving one man, but what remains unconclusive for the future of the rest of mankind. Meet John Doe did well at the box office, pulling in $1.8 million, $22 million in 2025 dollars. Despite its controversial subject, Meet John Doe generated the 11th total in ticket sales in 1941. 65 years later, in 2006, Meet John Doe was ranked 49th of the top 100 movies of all time. For the two top stars, Cooper and Stanwyck, 1941 turned out to be a monumental year. The two together did a second film, a comedy, Ball of Fire. Stanwyck also did another comedy film, The Lady Eve, with Henry Fonda. Cooper starred in Sergeant York. All four films were among the top hits at the box office with audiences and warmly received by critics. Despite the success of Meet John Doe, reportedly Frank Capra was never fully satisfied with the final version of the film. He would produce another political satire, The State of the Union, in 1948. Before then, Capra completed documentaries for the U.S. during World War II, started a new studio, and finished his most famous work, It's a Wonderful Life, 1946.